Carlos Alcaraz has officially turned up the heat in Australia, just 24 hours before stepping onto the court for his debut in the first Grand Slam of the year. The young Spaniard hasn't just packed his rackets for this trip. He's brought a fiery determination and a fresh buzz cut that screams "New Year, New Me." Alcaraz, fresh out of an off-season where he's been sharpening his game and recharging his batteries, is ready to take a big bite out of this year's tennis feast. His first dish? The Australian Open, and it's being served up hot tomorrow. But don't think for a second this is going to be a walk in the park. With Jannik Sinner and Novak Djokovic lurking like sharks in his section of the draw, every match could turn into a bloody battle. Alcaraz knows what's at stake and, more importantly, knows his limits. He's not afraid to say, "Screw it," and skip smaller tournaments if his body demands it. That's not a concession. It's strategy. During the Australian Open's media day, Alcaraz dropped some truth bombs that rattled the tennis world. Reflecting on the brutal schedule that players endure, he took a subtle jab at the hypocrisy of those who whine about the calendar but still sign up for exhibition matches. "Let's be real," he said with his trademark cheeky grin. Taylor Fritz nailed it. It's not the same thing. Grinding through 9 days of high-stakes competition isn't the same as showing up to an exhibition to entertain the crowd for one day. Let's not pretend it is. Alcaraz wasn't shy about admitting he might scratch a few exhibitions and tournaments off his calendar. "It depends on how things go, how I'm playing, how my body feels. I'm done dragging myself into tournaments half dead, mentally or physically. If it doesn't feel right, I'm out. No more odysseys for me." Beyond his mindset, Alcaraz has also been fine-tuning his weaponry. He revealed that his team made a bold move to adjust the weight of his racket. "We added 5 grams, and honestly, it feels like a game changer. The racket still moves like butter, no stress on the arm, and I'm dodging those pesky shoulder issues. It's all about balance, you know? And let's talk about that serve, one of the biggest areas he's been working on. We had to mix it up," Alcaraz admitted. "I've made my motion more fluid, with less tension in my wrist. It's smoother, more natural now, and I feel like I've got a better rhythm. Being relaxed out there helps prevent all the extra crap, like tightening up when things get tough." Now, here's where things get spicy. The Australian Open organizers, bless their chaotic souls, decided to cook up a schedule that has tennis fans scratching their heads. Alcaraz and Djokovic are both slated to play on the same day, potentially setting up an epic clash in the quarterfinals if they both clear the hurdles in their path. But wait, there's more. Jannik Sinner, who's also in the mix, somehow got his match bumped to Monday instead of Tuesday. The result? A bizarre, congested lineup with overlapping match times that's enough to drive fans, and probably the players, mad. Alcaraz might be facing a stacked draw and logistical headaches, but one thing's for sure, he's not backing down. Whether he's cracking jokes about exhibitions or tweaking his game to perfection, the kid from Murcia is here to make a statement. Buckle up, tennis fans. It's going to be one hell of a ride. Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz are about to create a scheduling nightmare that feels like Barca and Real Madrid playing El Clasico at the same damn time. For tennis fans, it's one big, awkward mess, especially for those who can't decide who the hell to watch. At 7 p.m. local time in Melbourne, which is 9 a.m. for those waking up in Central Europe with a coffee and a croissant, Djokovic and Alcaraz will both step onto the court. Talk about a serious clash. Not just on the court but for TV remotes everywhere. Djokovic, the 10-time Australian Open champ and owner of a mind-blowing 24 Grand Slam titles, will kick off his campaign against 19-year-old American hopeful Nice Bavary in the Rod Laver Arena. You'd think Alcaraz, with all the hype surrounding him, would be taking center stage too, right? Wrong. Instead, the Spaniard is starting his journey on the Margaret Court Arena, facing Chile's Nicolas Jarry, while Djokovic hogs the spotlight. Ouch. As if this scheduling circus wasn't enough, Nick Kyrgios, the ultimate wild card and crowd magnet, will be hitting his favorite stage, the John Cain Arena, at the exact same time. That's 3 heavyweights, Djokovic, Alcaraz, and Kyrgios, competing for fans' eyeballs in different arenas, all equipped with fancy retractable roofs. Good luck to anyone trying to catch all the action without losing their mind or missing something epic. For those stuck at home, Eurosport and Eurosport Max have got you covered, streaming every damn match from the tournament. And if you're the type who loves a good play-by-play, Mundo Deportivo will have all the updates and live coverage to keep you in the loop. Now, let's talk about Carlitos Alcaraz, the guy who's been carrying the weight of being the next big thing in tennis like a boss. As the Australian Open looms, Alcaraz is one of the top contenders for the title, and he's got a chance to complete his collection of Grand Slam trophies. The Australian Open is the one missing from his cabinet, and snagging it would not only be a huge personal milestone but also allow him to swipe a record from Rafael Nadal. Imagine that, a 20-year-old Spaniard edging out one of the GOATs. Adding to the drama, a tennis legend has stepped up to defend Alcaraz from the critics who love to take cheap shots at rising stars. This unnamed legend didn't just praise Alcaraz, they doubled down, calling him one of the best damn players of the current era. And honestly, they're not wrong. As Alcaraz gears up for his Australian Open debut this season, he's not just chasing a trophy. He's chasing history. With Djokovic and Kyrgios playing at the same time, it might feel like the spotlight's a little crowded, but knowing Carlitos, he's ready to make some noise and steal the show, whether the cameras are on him or not. This season is just getting started, and if Alcaraz has anything to say about it, it's going to be a wild ride. Former tennis star and current Eurosport commentator Alex Corretja has once again proven he's the kind of guy who doesn't mince words, especially when it comes to defending the young guns of tennis. In a recent interview with Marca, Corretja didn't just tip his hat to Carlos Alcaraz. He practically placed a crown on his head, declaring him the future king of tennis and, controversially, putting him above Jannik Sinner. Yep, shots fired. Let's get real. Corretja wasn't here for the Alcaraz hate. The criticism thrown at Carlos? It's laughable. Like, so ridiculous it's almost tragic, he said, not holding back one bit. It's a clear sign of how clueless we are about anything outside our own bubble. People love to run their mouths without the faintest idea of what it takes to do what Carlos is doing. Corretja wasn't just defending Alcaraz, he was calling out the entire peanut gallery. And honestly, he's got a point. He wasn't shy about showering Alcaraz with praise either. The kid's season was mind-blowing, an absolute masterclass. I'd give him a 9.95, but screw it, let's call it a 10. Do you know how hard it is to pull off what he's doing? Most people can't even win a club tournament, let alone go toe-to-toe with the best in the world, Corretja declared. And here's the kicker. Corretja thinks it would be a straight-up shock if Alcaraz doesn't bag at least one Grand Slam this year. He's even pegged the Australian Open as Alcaraz's first shot at glory in 2025. While he acknowledges Sinner's undeniable talent, he's firm in his belief that Carlos has the edge. Sinner's a beast, a modern-day tennis machine, all structure, focus, and precision. But Carlos? He's something else entirely. He's learning to grind it out when he's not at his best, and when he's on, he's unstoppable. The guy's a Swiss Army knife on any surface. Well, except indoor courts. That's still a work in progress. Switching gears, Corretja got candid about the state of Spanish tennis. While he's excited about promising talents like Martín Landaluce, who's about to debut at the Australian Open, and Rafa Hódar, fresh off his US Open Junior win, he's also waving a big, red flag. Look, there's some great work being done, but let's not kid ourselves, it's shaky. We've been paying the price for years of poor planning. Futures and challengers fell through the cracks, and we're scrambling to catch up, he admitted. Corretja praised Landaluce for making the main draw in Melbourne, but he warned against putting too much pressure on a 19-year-old. You can't just demand these kids grow up overnight. And yeah, Hódar took the US Open Junior title, but we're still in a dicey spot. Let's call it what it is, a big, flashing alert sign for Spanish tennis. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Corretja remains hopeful that the new wave of talent will be nurtured properly, avoiding the pitfalls of the past. And let's face it, if anyone knows what it takes to make it in this brutal sport, it's Corretja. So, if you're into deep dives, hot takes, and exclusive interviews like this, smash that subscribe button and leave a like. At Tennis Extra, we're all about serving you the juiciest analysis, freshest updates, and behind-the-scenes action from the tennis world. Join our community, because trust us, there's no better way to stay in the loop. The excitement of the tour is just getting started, and you don't want to miss a thing. Let's do this!